Like, honestly, I'm shook. Who is she, though? Let's go close look on this. Who is she, though? I hope that's actually picking up. Look at her. She's backwards. She's reversed for me, but I'm sure she's wonderful for you. Can you see that? Is it real? It's got to be real. Look at her. Look at her. She isn't focusing, but like, I'm not. Okay, let's do the Gigi Gorgeous thing. Oh. No, still isn't working. Okay. Well, I hope the camera's actually. La la la. La 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 la. La 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 la. That's how you do a microphone check, folks. It's getting up to around about 8:30. It's Valentine's Day, and I thought, in the spirit of Valentine's Day, I would be painting the two non-platonic solids of my D&D dice, which are the 10-sided ones, which I like to call my dreidel dice because they're like perfect for spinning. Well, there's one. Well, where actually is the other one? Oh, there she is. And with their powers combined, you're able to make a D100, as opposed to making the perfect 10 that everyone wants to be. Ooh, another addition to all of this. Bloop. Haha. About to up my YouTube cred. Lighting, mood lighting. Wasn't quite expecting that. Directed lighting. I hope this isn't a safety hazard. Now that's dramatic. It also looks like I'm about to tell a horror story. We'll see how it goes. So this is my first time actually doing anything quite like this. Does this count as a nail tutorial? I'm getting lit from the front. Is that a good thing? In any case. Here I have some fun lacquer. Hollow Flaky's business, a la Simply No Logical. I still have spots, so just ignore those for the meantime. They're going to clear up in about 15 years. So the thing we start off with is a nice base coat. Now, I really should be working on the 500 summary I have on pharmacology and its inefficiencies in current pharmaceutical industries. But you know, I thought, why not just paint some dice instead? Now, I'm going to try and be editing this one down. I'm going to be trying to edit this one down. That landed right on my finger. Maybe it's a sign. Huh, that's where it's meant to go. Volatile substances be damned. So I'm just going to start off with like a nice little thin coat. There's a lot been going on, yeah. Like stuff that you wouldn't believe. Well, you could believe, but like it's just too much to get into at the moment. I'm just going to have to leave that laying, aren't I? I also don't have any acetone. I should probably get some acetone and stop putting this through my hair. That probably isn't a good idea. So this is something I'm doing on Valentine's Day, which, like, that says a lot. And there's a lot of stuff happening currently too, you know. I'm going to be one of those drama YouTubers, aren't I? So in recent history, I've been like having difficulties with sorting out accommodation. Particularly if you're like if you've met me, if you've talked to me in recent times, you'll know that. Oh my god, it's actually like taken away some of the writing. Gonna have to be very careful with this. I've been having difficulties actually getting kind of like accommodation or housing sorted, because I'm trying to get like a placement over in France, over in Toulouse, you know, got nothing to lose. Doing like parasitic work. Well, that's kind of like a day-to-day thing for me, to be honest. But I'm just like, it's been difficult, yeah, in these recent times, in these trying times. Because like initially, I thought it was going to be like fun and games, and I'll be told kind of quickly, like sometime in January, whether or not I'd be going to France or not, and having an interview and going through that entire process. But it just keeps on getting postponed. Well, I was never really told a direct date at the very beginning. I asked for one and it was like, no, man. And it just kept being put further and further back. Now, because like the staff who are meant to be marking it, like they're all falling ill because of Ebola or something, like Return of the Ebola, I'm just not having it. I think this is actually taking off some of the varnish off the top. This is why I'm doing it on the platonic solids, by the way, because they're my least favourite dice. You need to stop doing that. So after laying down a nice thin base coat, I shouldn't do that either. That's a bad thing to do. I do have both windows open at the very least, so it's going to be like slowly ventilating over through that way. And this is the top coat. Okay, so I've done them the right way around. You're obviously not going to be able to see anything at the moment. Not very well. I'm hoping that this scatters kind of okay-ish. I'm also hoping that the microphone's actually working. We've only been going for 6 minutes. I'm going to be trying to edit this one down. I'm not sure if I've said that or not. Okay, this looks like a fairly dispersed hollow. She smells, oh, she has a tang. She has rosettes associated with her. Now we're just going to like apply this straight on top. This isn't professional work, I'll tell you that much. I'm not going to become a nail tech anytime soon. Oh, she is thick. She's a little thick. Not even like she's thick, but she's kind of like getting all over the place, but she looks kind of gorgeous. Okay, gonna try and like dab away the heartache over on the side of this. And I think that's the 8 done. I think she's beautiful, she's gorgeous. She looks like Linda Evangelista. Did you put hollow on those tights? That's why Valentina really went home. She didn't put hollow on the tights. She stoned it. She stoned it for the gods. But if you're not putting like refracting lights just all over your legs, like, who are you kidding? I think I should try to avoid the very middle of the number. That seems to be, yeah, that'll probably be a good idea. So I'm being very sparing with my coats at the moment. Also, I completely stopped talking about accommodation. Maybe I should continue that for the entire rest of the video. But it's like... So, the ideal thing for third years to do is to kind of go back to accommodation. Obviously not for the university because they want to make room for the first years or second years who are having difficulties, or people who are actually having difficulty with accommodation. Kind of like me. And obviously they're catering to the people who are like new to the university, so they'll have like a good experience in their first year or what have you. And I'm like, I'm a weird case. Because at this stage, everyone knows where they're living. Pretty much everyone knows. They've sorted out their like who they're sharing a house with, where they're going to be living. Everyone who hasn't been an idiot so far, anyway. No tea, no shade. People who haven't decided where they're living by the 14th of February. I hope Valentine's Day hasn't absolutely destroyed your relationship and who you're going to be living with. That would be sad. To be honest, like, the issue for me is that I still don't know whether or not I'm going on placement. They told me I'd be denied, which obviously would actually be really beneficial because I know where I'd stand in terms of where I'm living, as in which country I'd be living in. That would be fabtabulous. But that just really isn't the case at the moment, and that's like, it's getting to me, yo. I think I'm going to try and brush off a little bit off of the number 8 because that's like, it's looking a little bit much. At least I'm going to know which one the number 8 is. So it's been a process because I originally was like looking for a house with 4 other friends, but there was a chance that I wasn't going to be staying in the country and actually living with them. So we were looking at 4 rooms and 5 room kind of housing situations. And it's kind of awkward, like going over to a landlord and saying, yeah, there might be 4 or 5 of us. And there were a bunch of houses that were perfect for that. They were like 5 and 6 bedroom places that were basically saying, oh, that's fine. If like it turns out that you, Sam, the terrible one, who's making things really awkward for all of your wonderful friends who are trying to help you out, but like you're not really doing anything. It's really like... I'm probably being like too obtuse and hard on myself, but Sam, you're causing issues because we don't know what's happening with you. You're a wild card. And obviously it's hard to get a house with that situation. So after looking at these, there were only like 3 properties that were actually like these 5 or 6 bedroom kind of situations. And we went over to them, and none of my friends like really were mad about them. Well, they were mad about them because they were like kind of falling apart slightly. There were some beautiful patterns just going across where the boiler should be. And they just decided, no, that's not the house for them. And that was like low key them telling me, Sam, we're not living with you in the next year. So I've been kind of getting over that. I've been kind of dealing with that. And then recently, like, kind of like my best friend for like the last 2 years of university, like, she kind of got a bit iffy with me, like, nothing on her whatsoever. I was kind of like not talking shit about her. I was like, not spreading rumors or anything. I was spreading facts, if anything, but it's entirely down to her what kind of things are said about her. Because that's her reputation, like, Taylor Swift has taught us. If she's taught us anything, it's that, like, don't mess with someone else's reputation. You're going to get fucking stabbed, and, like, someone's going to write an album about you. And I'm not about that life, to be honest. I'm going to put this back in here, even though it might destroy everything. Chemicals, who knows what they're about. And so basically I was, like, saying how Caroline was doing in terms of, like, if she got a new boyfriend, and, like, I know now. I should have known before. I'm sorry, Caroline. I know now that, like, you shouldn't do that. Simple. I'll go over to this one. This is a cute one. This, like, gives you all of the 10 values. So, like, yeah, 20, 60, 40, all that, and a 00. And a 00 usually means that it's like 100. So if you get like 0 on that one and then a 00 on that one, that means it's 100, hence the D100. You can never get a 0. That's kind of the whole point, you know, like, you can never get a 0 unless you have like modifiers, D and D. So just going to go through the same process, going back to our base coat. So, like, Caroline, I love you. I do. I really, really do. Accommodation. In terms of my options at the moment, I've been told, okay, I need to be careful with this. I've probably also been told I need to be careful with accommodation. I was emailed basically saying that I applied for going back on campus, even though I still don't know whether or not I'm going to be, like, staying in England for this year and the following academic year. Got a little bit of leg business in the background. And I was advised not to, but at this point I kind of need to be a little bit selfish. I need to, like, not break the rules, but, like, tease them out, you know. Do the most that I can do for myself, because I'm the one in a bit of a precarious situation. The university should be able to accommodate for that. And there are things in place, such as, like, an attendance agreement. I'm able to basically say, like, if there's an extenuating circumstance, which I'd say there is at this point, that I'd be able to pull out. And there's a 7-day cooling off period in which I might be able to get my results, and they'd be able to tell me, Sam, you're not leaving the country. Sorry, that hit me a little bit. Or, Sam, you're going to have to wait another 2 weeks because we're going to interview you, and then we're going to tell you again whether or not you're going to be leaving the country. So it's a waiting game. It's a big old waiting game that I'm playing at the moment. But I can't be a passive waiter. I need to be doing things at the same time. That isn't a personality thing. That's a situation thing. That's what's going on at the moment. Did I turn this clockwise or anti-clockwise? I've already done the 00. Oh, I need to put a top coat on this one. Do you let it dry? I'm going to let it dry for a little bit. But this one I'll keep doing. So I've arranged to talk to my personal tutor about it. I'm going to be talking to him on Friday. And, I actually need to, after I do this, I need to actually go forward and accept the accommodation, because there's a 7-day cooling period where I'm still able to like pull out of going through with this accommodation. And I'm going to be talking to my personal tutor about all of this on Friday, where I'm going to be like shopping with my mum afterwards, doing all the groceries and all that business, and then playing D&D with my new fabulous dice. That's going to be happening in 3 days, and I'm excited about it. But with all of this stuff going on, like, this was low-key my day to relax. But I also forgot I had not loads of things, but mostly like social things to be doing today. So like I didn't go to see Christine with her like language exchange thing that she set up, and she's doing great with it so far. I've been able to talk to some people in French and Spanish. It's been wonderful. Got to meet Yar. I forget where he's from. I'm sorry, Yar. But he actually joined us in Spanish Society as well. That was wonderful. I think that's that base cut done. So I'll now go back to the hello. By the looks of it, this is actual, real, proper, true to life, true blue, miracle, red, blue, green, yellow, a little bit of white and silver. Hello. So it's Christine Simply Neological, not Christine Vu. It's happening. I'm here for it. I'm here for you. You're here for me, I think. You're in Canada, but like you're here in my heart, my little like glowy hollow heart, slightly iridescent with some like unicorn viscera just escaping all over it. I might not edit this video. I might just keep it like this entire mess that I'm doing, because I've been pretty okay, all things considered. Like, not emotionally, but like in terms of maintaining a train of thought and like going back. I've been doing, it hasn't been a 50-50. I've been talking a lot more about accommodation than I have like this actual tutorial business, but you know what? That's the kind of YouTuber I'm going to be. I'm a YouTuber on the cash. I don't care about money. I care about talk therapy, I guess. That's something that happens a lot, actually. Like, I'll start talking to someone and ask them a question. It's like, oh wait, now I get it, without them ever uttering a word. And it's like, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a friend and having the potential of like helping me through the situation. It's like a placebo, I think. Like, having people around, it makes you like think about what they might be thinking. And through that, it's like you have two minds inside of your mind. You have two opinions. And that's powerful, man. Like, friends are great. Friends are fantastic. Always make sure you have friends. Like, value your friends. Because friends, good friends, stick through anything with you, like thick or thin, including this coat of Harlow, which is looking a bit thin, but I think that's for the best, actually, because the other one was quite thick and it was like covering the letters. Numbers. Numbers are just letters that have value, like numerical value, which I guess is like what numbers are all about. It's a bit circular reasoning at that point. This might just end up being like a 40-minute video, like, of me procrastinating, and I think that's fantastic. I'm actually going to be setting up a little 1-shot, 3-shot, 5-shot with my current D&D group. Our DM Grace at the moment, she's going through it. It's semester 2. It's all hitting her. It's all kicking off. This isn't RuPaul's Best Friend race no more. This is actually looking beautiful. You're gonna have to take my word for it, but it looks pretty fab at the moment. So she's gonna be like, she's already doing like other groups simultaneously to us. She's putting through herself a lot. So like, good on her for like putting her mental health forward, and like taking a break from doing so much DMing, because she's doing our group, she's doing pardon me, a home group and another group, I think, on campus. We are the best group, that's like no doubt, a matter of twine. It's like, it's beautiful. We have a gag about ropes going, it's wonderful. And top coat. And honestly, at this point, I really want to get into like DMing to see if it's for me. Kind of like my placement abroad over in Toulouse. I wanna see what like living the dream is like. I'm not sure if anyone really dreams about genetically modifying parasites and then finding out their properties and which like biochemicals or MHC variables actually are able to permeate their vacuoles, but parasitophorus vacuoles, keyword. If I ever get interviewed, I need to use that word for sure. Um, Move that out of the way because it's like casting shadow and I'm not about that life. I'm not here to be shady, I'm here to be truthful. In addition to all of this, I'm planning on talking to Maripas about, this is Top Coat, yes, going fabric shopping. Guys, I haven't even talked about it. I haven't even like posted that video with like the dress Watsumahutsu. That's going to be fab. It better be fab. I really hope this microphone's working. Oh my god. Oh, that top coat. That makes sense. If it dries really quickly, that means that it must be like extremely volatile because it's like it's getting rid of it. All of the liquid is like trying to evaporate as quickly as possible. That's science for you. I remember a little bit of chemistry from like stuff that you may have like undergone back in good old days. Should this be like a really thick top coat? I'll probably do like several coats. One coat of hollow is plenty though, I'll tell you that much, especially on this number 8 that I'm currently painting. Some hollow might actually end up leaching back into this one. I might just stop here. I think I've talked enough. I'll do a quick summary, I suppose. So like, I'm going through stuff. It's nothing I can't handle. I'm still happy. I'm not getting too worked up about it, and that's good. Value friendship. Treat others how you wish to be treated. Don't go spreading things about like relationship statuses to people, especially if they hate each other. Yeah, add that to like your little list of how not to be a terrible person. That should be an autobiography. I should do that. Self-help books. Okay, self-help books are they're almost demonized these days, and they have been for quite a long time, because it's expected really that you should know how to live your life, or through experiences you should know how to live a good life, how to live your best life, as Oprah might say. I'm doing this a lot because I really don't want to use this. It's not a good look. I'm going to be using every single part of my body except for this thumb, which I think it's dried. It's just base coat. It's assumed at this point in our society that we should have the power inside ourselves to be able to know how, like, what our best life looks like. But honestly, we are massively biased individuals. Our brains are flawed. We don't see the world in complete, like, paramount probably isn't the right word, IMAX objectivity. We aren't God. And as such, sometimes we need a helping hand. Sure, friends are lovely, but like if you don't seek counselling, what the hell just happened there? If you don't seek counselling or like professional help, then the next best thing is to find someone who is a professional who then wrote a book about how to help yourself. And I think the concept of that is just beautiful. It's getting advice from someone who like spent hours, years, like painstakingly putting their advice together to benefit an entire audience. Sure, they were probably doing it for the money, but they have to have something to say. Clearly what they're saying needs to be backed up with some kind of, okay, maybe not clearly. This is why it's good to talk. This is why it's really good to talk, and it's to find out in what ways you're being an idiot. Because sometimes the first pass through your mental sieve, like, it doesn't work out. Things get into your head that you haven't actually like properly internalized. You haven't questioned but you have internalized, and you said, "Yeah, sounds good," because it came from like a place of authority. So either like someone, a friend, or like a colleague, or like a parent. And people are flawed. If they're not experts in like what they're talking about, their statements are flawed. There's going to be some inconsistencies there. They're not going to know all the facts because they haven't like gone through the training or been like properly educated on the matter, and that can be a problem. It can be a big problem because then you start getting fake news. And you don't want your mind to be filled with fake news, because that's propaganda. And you know, most of the time propaganda ain't no good. It just ain't. I should have tied my hair back, but I'm not sure whether or not that's a good look. My dad certainly doesn't think so. My dad really doesn't like me having long hair. Well, I don't think he doesn't hate it, but like he's not all about that life. And when I like put it up in like a semi man bun, it wasn't even man bun. It was just like, it was keeping my fringe out of my face, and like that's what its purpose was. And he just didn't like the form. The function he could appreciate, but like he didn't like the way it looked. And I'm fine with that. I am. I'm not like looking for my father's approval in the way I look. I'm not insecure in that regard. I'm insecure in other ways, but how I look to my dad, he's fine with it. I'm fine with it, I think. My dad's been doing great recently. One of my friends, Jack, he like not Jack from Nottingham. He's like been asking me about my father a lot, like almost as if it's like assuming that I'm having issues with my father. Maybe he's psychic and he knows that like things are gonna happen. Maybe I should like text my dad. Maybe I should. I don't know when next I'm going to see him. Last time I saw him was like Christmas, and that's 2 months ago. Mom's getting tired. I think I'm going to flip out to the other side a little bit. I'm going to keep just talking, I suppose. I think this is helping me out. I think this is best to not be edited. This feels real. I think they've been drying for a little bit now, so I'll flip this one over here. Yeah, the one that I painted first, which was the 8, and flip it over, and hopefully it doesn't like destroy everything. It should be good. Is it tacky? I'm tacky. It looks tacky, but like I'm living for it. I'll add a base coat. Always add a nice... I'm not making a thick base coat because that might like throw off the balance of the dice and make them unfair. And these dice, not these dice in particular, like my D20s have been absolute angels recently. So my character Angel, Minotaur Blood Cleric, from What's in Hoots it? What do you call it? Critical Role. I never know whether it's roll or roll, you know what I mean. So using a little bit of that, so a Blood Cleric homebrew, very cute. This is base coat, yeah, this is base coat. Green. Why green? Surely the idea is it kind of like counteracts the yellowing or the oranging of nails when you use like too much. Ooh, I need to be careful with how much I put on clearly, because that's like smudge the 9. Definitely something to take note of on the next one. My baby Minotaur, he's like 26. Angel, he's doing well. He's doing okay. I don't know what I was talking about originally. Oh yeah, he was like doing a little pilgrimage over to a pond. We're currently in the city of Draconia. We're not in Rule, because that's where my bro Coltan hails from. So we're in Draconia, and like there are apparently no ponds in Draconia. So I like walk for several miles, and I make like exhaustion checks. So like survival and constitution, and I never drop below a 16 after like 5 rolls of each. And it's like, Jesus, Mary, I don't have a single point of exhaustion. So like these dice, they're beautiful. Always go with purple dice. Purple is the color of royalty, and you will feel like a goddamn queen rolling them. Gabriel, like, always prefer Gabriel. He plays Coltan. He's a good friend of mine. I think of him as a good friend. I don't know about me to him. He's like playing Coltan, and he kind of inspired this actually. Like, he kind of brought up the fact that like, oh wait, no. The idea of like making hollow dice and putting, or like he was unable to actually find hollow dice, so he bought these grey dice, and they were cute enough and everything, but like he bought them thinking maybe there was a chance that they're hollow, and they weren't hollow. He's a bit of a holosexual, just like me, and he got them, and like they were just normal glitter. They were cute and everything, but they weren't hollow. And it was like, Sam, get on that. And here I am, like several months later, at least 3, probably 4, maybe 5, almost half a year. I've been playing D&D for almost half a year. Sweet Jesus. We had a little break during the Christmas time, but you know. So Gabriel really rates dice on how delicious they look, and he says like mine are the most delicious, which I take as a compliment. That means I just have good choice, or choice that really fits his standards. Validation is great, people. Like, don't feel bad that you feel good about being complimented or being told like your actions and your opinions, I agree with them, because we need to fill our world and our friendship circles with people who support us, because then that allows them to throw shade at us when it's necessary. Like when our friends are being jerks, it's usually not just for the sake of being a jerk. There's usually some truth to it. This is at least like what I tell myself whenever I'm being mean to someone. I do it in a fun way, and it's like, it's the art of being a tease. You have to be a good tease. You have to be able to like know people's limits and find the right times to like make fun of them and point out their flaws in a way that like so you make a compliment sandwich. So you say like, oh, you've been doing really great recently, but I've noticed that like you've been having some issues with that, and I know everybody does that. Make it general. And maybe I should write no, I should not write an advice book. But like, surround yourself with friends, because those friends are going to be able to know what ticks you off, what triggers you, and be able to tell you the truth and tell you how to improve as a person without hurting you or antagonizing you or making you like not want to talk to them and not want to listen to their advice. That's what I say anyway. And I always aim to be like amicable with everyone, and I mean everyone. Even if it's like someone who from day one seems to be not so much a sympathetic person, or like that they don't immediately go over to you and like want to be your friend, or even do that in a less extra way. Like people who just sit by themselves, like you don't need to talk to them. You don't actually need to like introduce yourself, give them a handshake or anything. If someone's like lonely, just like lift your head to them, like acknowledge their presence, go like, make sure that they know that they're not invisible. Let them know that like people see them, that they're not that they're not just like a shadow in the corner, that they're not completely unable to make any kind of communication with anyone, because everyone deserves the extension of an olive branch, you know. Everyone needs a chance. Sometimes, like, it's hard to make those opportunities for yourself. If you're like an introvert, although the word introvert at this point is like kind of irrelevant, if you're not good at making first impressions, if you're not good at like being the first person to talk to someone, it can be difficult to like make friends, a little bit cliche, but like get to know people meaningfully, unless you're like slammed together for like, that does not work. Okay, new tip. I've been like doing, every now and again I've been like rolling up and down like a paint roller. Don't do that. That like ruins the texture of it seems. And then kind of makes it so it's like harder to see what the hollow's doing. But that looks okay now that I've smoothed it over a little bit. Always make sure that they're doing okay. If you're out in the club, it's a similar thing. If you're like, even if it's like your friend, always make sure that they're doing okay. Even if it's like going like, or like, you want to go get like a drink, but like water drink. I don't know how you'd signal that specifically. Ask them if they're okay. Always make sure someone's okay. If you don't know what to say to someone, ask them if they're doing okay. The word okay is beautiful. It's used by people across the entire world. Okay, that's irrelevant. But it's universal. And it's not like the word fine. Because when you say you're fine, it's like a cliche of girlfriends saying like, oh yeah, I'm fine. That means that they're not fine. But okay, for the most part, 9 times out of 10, it's neutral. It's wonderfully neutral, unlike my skin tone. And you're able to like, it's very versatile. You're able to use it in any kind of situation. You doing okay? Are you okay? Are you alright? Alright is along the same lines, I'd say. If you're saying okay too many times, use alright instead. That's just a little bit of poetry advice, I suppose. The hollow's flaking off, but that's kind of what I do from time to time. That's why you get a top coat. I should probably do several layers, maybe like 3 layers of top coat. This is becoming like an hour video, and I'm all about that, honestly. I really hope this doesn't unbalance the dice too much. Maybe if I had an extra coat, like balance it in a good way. Or it'll make it like too round. I don't know. I honestly have no idea. This is why I'm doing it on like the dice that I... Not the dice that I hate, the dice that I don't like the most. Yeah, that makes grammatical sense at the very least. Because they're like... They're not platonic. They're not true, like, regular 3-dimensional shapes. And that makes me, like, not treasure them as much. Because, like, there are loads of non-platonic solids. And it's kind of like single people, I suppose. Are the majority of people single? That's a good question. Probably, I'd guess. Valentine's Day. Like, the sadness of being single on Valentine's Day, I was expecting it to be worse, but, like, for the most part, people didn't, like, put it in your face or anything. And even when it was mentioned, it came alongside, like, a little bit of fudge. Literally, my friend Ali, who, like, I play D&D with, she plays Ballade, gnome wizard, and she, like, offered me fudge and said, like, Happy Valentine's Day after that fact, and I was like, thank you. And, like, she offers it to everyone else, and it's like, oh, like during Tea Society, and it was gorgeous. It was wonderful. Thank you, Ali. Thank you for the fudge. It was delicious, and I ended up having like 2.5 pieces of it. I had one of the largest pieces. She offered one to everyone in the D&D group, and that was really cute. Sorry, I kind of left you a few times, just like sitting there on your own, but you seem to be like talking quite nicely with that girl. I forget her name. Was she like an Isabel? I hope you talked about something meaningful. I hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day, Ali. I hope everyone had a stunning Valentine's Day. I'm not sure whether I'm not going to be uploading it today. maybe I will. Just an hour video today, like right after I uploaded yesterday's video of Hold Up by Beyonce, featuring Demon Eyes channeling the diva Beyonce herself. So now I'll just add top coats to each of these after, because hello, I'm done. Hello, you're done. You're good. You can go now. I should probably just leave this unedited, because I've said a lot, and I don't think I'll really want to take anything out. There weren't that many awkward silences. But the beginning, I wanted to be like short and snappy and a little bit comedy. Like I wanted to like the I'm shook. I wanted that to be like on its own, but overproduction ruins stuff, so I'm not going to produce it whatsoever. Just putting everything that happens out there, including that bit where I'm searching for the other die. And it turns out just to be in the tub. Oh dear. Yeah, this is top coat. Here we go. Adding the other layer of top coat. Now I'm gonna, since this is like going to be towards the end of the video, I'm going to start like actually talking about the pharmacology stuff. So it's a weird situation that we have with our with one of our modules that we're doing right now, current topics in biology, because it's very current. It feels like no tea, no shade to Mr. Bruce, Toby Bruce. No, he's doing Living Together, but it does feel a little bit just shellacked together. Like it's just a bunch of pieces that, because Jan, our lecturer, literally told us we basically finalised the presentation while me and Dave were coming over to the university in a car this morning. And that doesn't fill you with confidence, because you're meant to think oh yeah, all of this is planned, this is arranged and sorted out beautifully, stunningly, Linda Evangelista. But then it turns out that no, it gives the impression they don't care. And not a very strong one. Obviously, they're leading us through it. They're giving us the guidelines. They're telling us what we need to do. All of that, guides and everything, the handbooks, that's all sorted out. But I feel like everything should be planned to a good degree. You know, there's a little bump on here at the moment. I hope it's not illegal for me to be talking about things going on in university. That would be a bit weird. So with pharmacology currently, we were kind of told, basically just given the background on the issues that we're currently facing in the pharmacological business and the industry. Pharmaceutical, I'll just call it pharmaceutical. Pharmacology, pharmacological, that's too damn much, yeah. And we're talking about all of the inefficiencies in terms of the poor atom economies that are kind of in place at the moment, that occur with the initial concoction, the creation of novel pharmaceutical compounds. And that's apparently the most expensive part of the entire pharmaceutical process. And that's phase one. And there are so many phases after that, yeah. Actual animal testing, human testing, human tissue testing, and then actually testing it with people who are actually suffering from the illness. It's crazy, and it takes 10 years on average. Pardon me. Or maybe it was 15 to 20. I'll have to double check that, because SciShow and the presenter, they were giving us different figures, so definitely have to research that. Yeah, that's good. Move on to this die now. That isn't right. Oh, I must have done the wrong around. Oh well. So yeah, we've been doing okay so far. We had a so the entire point of this is that we get told about the subject that we're meant to be then writing a 500 word summary about. And that's fine, but it seems the lecturers that are actually telling us about, lovely lecturers by the way, they're guest lecturers coming from a long way, and it's thank you so much for taking your time to talk to us. We actually had this wonderful Keele alumna who works in CFAS, Is that stuck? Just a little bit. She came over to give us a presentation about aquaculture. It's like agriculture, but aqua, like, so like maritime. Wonderful, beautiful. And she was great. She was like telling us about all of these kind of innovations, things that have already been in place, kind of like multi-level systems of like having kind of. I clearly need to go over the presentation. Multi-layered. Yeah, so I'm going to have to look over those notes. So I have to write a summary about all of that, all of the things I've just been talking about. That'll be in for next week at least. We're just looking at pharmacology at the moment. But like, it seems that they aren't really given a brief on what they should be telling us, or they don't seem to know like why they're giving the presentation and what the presentation and the information from it is actually going to be used for. That's the impression I get from it. And that kind of fills me with like, the entire module just feels like a hodgepodge of uncertainty. And I'm not really all about that life, I'll tell you that much. I wanna feel like secure in like the teaching, the methods of teaching in which were actually being delivered during the lectures and during like the debate. I'll tell you what, the practice one that we were having, we were basically told to like do a little bit of research on genetic engineering on humans. So in terms of like design of babies, 3-parent embryos, like mitochondrial insertion, mitochondrial transplant, I suppose it could be called. I think that's all of that done. And that was great because the argument was very obvious. It was like there were two obvious sides to it. There was like, yes, we should be doing all of this genetic engineering, including gene therapy, which is, I think that's something that we're currently doing at the moment, especially in terms of like treating cystic fibrosis and other debilitating illnesses that massively decrease quality of life. And all of that research is being done, and people are like on track. I don't think cystic fibrosis currently has a cure yet in terms of actually being able to like fully sort out their issues, mucous membranes and all that business, and fertility. And there was an obvious line drawn in the sand. It was like, either you're on the side of, yes, we should like do all of these things, potentially look into I'll get that one to the other side, potentially look into eradicating genetic diseases that have kind of plagued humanity for years and years and like decrease quality of life. Or we should say no to genetic engineering on humans because of the fact that like, what do these potentially cause in terms of like the genetic lines later on in human history, human future history, if that's a phrase. And whether or not like, especially in terms of germline therapy, where like instead of having kind of momentary genetic changes and engineering on an individual level, germline therapy then goes on and may cause like potential hazards further down in terms of and blah. I need to find out what that means for Manibath. So like further on down the line, there's going to be some potential issues, genetic unforeseen problems with the genetic code of individuals who are born from that germline that has like undergone the therapy. And then obviously, like we say, it's a slippery slope towards eugenics, which is like, that can be in its own summary, that can be in its own essay really. I'll start repainting these with the top coat. My back's getting a little bit done in actually. Oh my god. Oh, you know what, I'm just gonna like do this. You can see the rest of my room now. It isn't that much of a mess. If I just raise this. Yeah, that's cute. Red light. Put on a red light, Roxanne. So like, why is this different? Why does this feel different? This feels very different. Eugenics, that can be its own thing. That can absolutely be its own thing. And it should be its own thing, to be honest. But like during that practice summary, there was an obvious line drawn in the sand between like you're either for or against it. But in terms of pharmacology and like how to increase its efficiency and like waste management and also in terms of its efficacy and being able to produce drugs that are like more effective and able to actually cure things that previous drugs couldn't. It's really like there's no debate. It's more a case of like, this is what we should be doing. What do we do? Well, we know what we do. These are the things we should be doing. There's no debate about it. So instead, it's more a case, because there needs to be a question. So instead, like, it was kind of thrown onto us that it's like, okay, during like this little like introduction into what you should be talking about, everyone come up with some questions. Make your own question. And you know what? Everyone else, I felt, might have overreacted to that. And felt a little bit like pushed into kind of basically being their own devil's advocate, like propping up your own question to no answer. But like, I think it's a good push in terms of, I didn't realize I used that so much in third meal day. Like, eventually, if we're going to become researchers, we're going to want to know what it is that we should be asking, the good question, the actual like hypothesis that we should be asking in order to answer for whatever it is that we'll be researching. And yeah, I suppose, but because we're doing it in current topics, it's given the context of feeling like, oh, you guys are kind of like on your own, because we don't have this planned. We don't know what we're doing. I think I'm going to be doing like 2 coats of this top coat and then just like leaving it to dry for a little bit. When I say for a little bit, I mean overnight. And I guess everyone feels a little bit ousted, a little bit lost, a little bit like they're not being taken care of. And I guess that's just like the next step to university. You're here living baby adult life. Like, you should start knowing what independence feels like. And it's still obviously not full independence. You're still like talking to people, and I think it's a good stepping stone. You're still talking to like all of your peers about it. You're being put into groups. There is still structure, but it's a lot more loose. It's a lot more lax. And therefore it's expected that you should have like your own motivation. You should be self-motivated, and that's an issue that I find. It's very difficult for me to like feel self-motivated. That's why I kind of gave up on becoming a doctor, because you need so much self-motivation. Like, the light at the end of the tunnel just seems so friggin' far away. Is that tacky? Yeah, I'll give that a second. I'll give that a second coat. Now I'll flip it over. Decision making I'm okay at, but forcing myself, the fact that I'm using the word force, to like do an assignment and like not leave it for the last couple weeks. I've been doing better. I don't leave it till like the last day anymore. But I still don't have it worked out. Like how I make myself function, like do these assignments, do what's expected of me, because I know it's a fact that I'm able to do these things. But I lack the self-motivation, I lack the drive. sometimes to like do these tasks. And if I'm in a working environment, it's no problem. But if I'm like in my bedroom, like I am currently, just chilling out, I will stay in that chillness. This is why I've been able to fix it for the most part by like going out to the library with friends and doing work there, because that I'm able to make that a working environment. The library is my second working environment outside of the lab or outside of class or outside of PC labs or what have you. This is starting to pong a little bit. Yeah, I've been able to make that work for me, I think. But now being a 30-minute walk away from university, I have to rely on friends so much in order to get myself out of the house and into a working environment that I'm able to do work in. And that's a problem. Because what if like I'm plunged into a situation where I'm in a different country and I don't have friends immediately available to me to be able to push me into productivity? What if I don't have that network? I guess I like go find a library. I make my own working environment, because a home, that isn't a place of work. It just simply isn't. Not for me, not for me. So I'm getting down to like the final little, I'm putting on the second coat to the first dye that I'm doing. Yeah, just finishing that up, and then after that there's just like one more coat on the other one and I'll be done. Life hasn't been difficult. I guess it's been challenging, but it's been fun. I'd say it's been fun. These dice have been wonderful to paint, like because you are basically able to just keep to one side and then it doesn't stick itself down as you rotate it. It has like two sides that you're able to work with independent of one another. So yeah, if anyone like, and like, it's okay that they move around. I think so anyway. Maybe if I do the other ones, I should like blue tack the side that I'm working on down, or that I'm not working on, I suppose. But like, I think it's coming off a little bit gleamy, so that's perfect. I'm actually able to like see all the numbers, and that's wonderful. I'll probably like post the final products like over to Instagram or something. My objective so far with like being extra in the second semester, I think I'm doing it. So yesterday it was Shrove Tuesday, February the 13th, and I decorated a pancake and I actually won. And in order to like fulfill myself being extra, I did a death drop to the floor upon my name like being announced as the winner. So I've been keeping to that. I've been living my life. I've been living maybe not my best life, but I've been doing that. I've been getting down with my new MO, my new modus operandus. And I've been keeping to that, and I'm not sure whether I've like felt happier about it. I still feel like around like the same. I felt about as happy as I have before starting off all of this, and that's fine. Like keeping to the same level, that's great. But like, we really shouldn't be looking for happiness. We should be looking for fulfillment, which is like a balance of ups and downs, not feeling like you're constantly stable. And I guess in terms of that, I've had like some like bigger ups and downs. Not really any downs, but like there's been things going on that have been perhaps negative, as opposed to kind of like this coasting situation I've been going through in the last year or so. But yeah, I'm doing well. and I've done painting my dice. I'll get to the other ones at some point in the near future. This video is like almost perfectly an hour long, so I'll see you guys later.